Hey friends, what is going on? Alvis here. Today we are joined with a very special guest. Can you please introduce yourself, kind sir?
Hello, I am Daniel Dolry from Solar4 Game, and we are developing an hack and slash game called Umbra, and it's now on Kickstarter.
Umbra is an action RPG game that features complete freedom of character development and a large open world to explore.
So we've gone through a couple of questions so far, and I thought we would just jump straight in. Let's not waste any time. So first of all, the loot system. What can you tell us about the itemization? Do you guys have any philosophies about what's going on? What's unique about Umbra's itemization?
So about Umbra itemization, we really want it to be a game-changing thing. So basically, a bit like Diablo 2, for example, you will have loots that really change the way you can play. You will have like skills modifier on your items or skills, new skills, completely new skills that can always be available with this item. We really want them to change the way you will play and give you more options every time you find new items. We have that system which for our unique items, which is called the Soul Gem. So basically, an item system in Umbra is a collection of a unique skin for the item and the Soul Gem, which hold the power of the sword, for example. And the idea is that for a certain price in the game, you will be able to switch that Soul Gem from an item to another. So, for example, if you find a great sword but you want to use, for example, a staff or a mace, you will be able to switch the power of the sword to the mace. And you will be able that way to combine the power of your mace, the initial power of your mace, with the unique power from the Soul Gem. So I hope it will bring a lot of possibilities for players.
So if I understand correctly, if you're playing, say you're running around with this awesome, great sword and you're kicking ass, and then you find this awesome mace, and with the Soul Gem system, you can actually break down the great sword, reapply that power into your mace, and then that's your brand new item, but you don't have to sacrifice swapping items. You can bring that over to the new item.
Yes, that's the idea. It will cost a certain price on resources and money in gold in the game, but that's the idea. It's really to make sure, because we have a no class restriction system in Umbra, so basically you can, for example, find a sword that go precisely in your build, but for example, it's a sword and you would prefer it to be a mace. So that's really the idea, to allow you to switch from an item to switch the power of an item to another. And also it should fix some issues that I saw, for example, when I was playing Diablo 3. For example, at some point I was just looking for the same furnace or for the same sword of prophecy. So, yeah, so it's really the idea is to be able to have that everybody will have its own items and even if they have some similarity in powers, they won't look the same and that won't be precisely the exact same stat applied.
It's crazy. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot more flexibility with the loot. And I feel like a lot of the hack and slash games that are available right now from other IPs, it's definitely a thing that we need right now in this particular genre, I feel, anyway. So let's jump on to the next one. Endgame. Umbra's Endgame. What are we doing? Like, do you guys have any endgame plans? And what does it currently look like in the prototypes? Or future alphas, any builds of the game in the future?
About the end game, our prototype currently have a similar system to the Rift mechanics of Diablo, with of course a bit less option because that's a prototype. But for the end game, we are aware that basically we were a Diablo 3 player, so we are aware that at some point you don't want to do the exact same Rift again, or maybe you would like to find another way to play and still to be rewarding at high level. So we are experiencing some mission right now. We are thinking about several different missions and a mod system for the maps. For example, a bit like Path of Exile, for example, you will play a certain level, and the next time you play the same level, you will have, for example, this level will be set on fire, or it will be completely frozen, and you will have to avoid a fire or frozen place to make sure you won't be put into fire or slowed down by the frost. So that's the idea. And for example, you can have a level that will collapse on your head and you will have rocks falling everywhere. So it will bring new gameplay, not only new gameplay possibilities, but also new challenge. Because if you are playing a certain way, and then the next time you are playing and rocks falls on your head, you will have to adapt to that.
So we have this end game system where if you're doing riffs, and we have this next level of gameplay where, like Daniel mentioned, where the roof might come down. So this might, manifest in, say, a timing system, or maybe there's a frozen element where it might slow you down or something like that. Okay, so do you feel like Umbra has achieved that action gameplay, that, really smooth gameplay that a lot of other IPs has achieved in the hack and slash space? Do you feel like it's smooth? It plays really well? You feel like you can just, sit down and play it no matter what the dynamics are?
Well, about that, actually, it's not really up to me to say it because I'm pretty much working on the game every day. But based on what we've seen and based on the feedback we had from various people who played it and, for example, from the press, they all say that the game is pretty smooth to play. It's pretty, there is a lot of fluidity with the movement. There is a lot of nice combination possible, etc. So I think we are good on that part. We are aware that there is still some issue. For example, right now when we strike someone, we don't have a lot of feelings that the impact was big, but we know how to fix that. For example, it's also a lot of related to the sound, and our current prototype is almost without any sound. So, but based on the feedback we had, it seems that we are in the pretty nice way to achieve it, and so we hope it will be good. Just to add a bit more about that, we want to have a really how to say, the quality of action is one of the main elements for us in a hack and slash game. It's like loot, personalization, and quality of action. Quality of action is actually the first one. So that's something where we put a lot of energy to make sure that the animation will be nice and fast. For example, they won't stuck your character for too long. The spell will be easy and to combine, to cast. There will be no huge time when your character remains immobile and not able to react to people around him. So we hope we are on a good path.
So I feel like this is actually quite important to yourself, and I'll jump into some later questions to jump on this, but you guys you're a modder, right? You understand these dynamics. You play lots of games, and you have passion about this, right?
Yeah, actually, I started to go into the video game world as a modder, and I started on Battlefield 2, I think, and I didn't stop since. And then I went on Crisis. I took part on Casus Belli, which was a bit popular at the time. And actually, I had my hand early on the CryEngine too. So I tried to make sure that my game will also be moddable by anyone. So most of our game system are based on XML5, for example. So it will be really easy for anyone to change, for example, the damage of a skill or the type of damage it will deal, the effect that will be casted, that kind of thing. It will be really easy to do. We actually have a dev blog on our website, and that dev blog describes the way our level generator works, so it will be easier for people to simply read that and then make their change.
Okay, so it's interesting. So you guys have specifically set aside the way that you're building the game to make sure that people who are modding can actually do that. We have a limitation with jumping on the specific technology that Cry is bringing out, but you guys have that option, so we can actually mod if we want to.
Yes, that was really the idea for me to... Actually, the project started 4 years ago, and at the time, Umbra was more designed to be something like an open source platform for modders who wanted to create an RPG on Crisis. And the idea was that... basically, the system should be easy to use by anyone.
So just to give you guys a heads up, we spoke a little bit earlier about the end game when it comes to the actual gameplay, but if you guys have been playing video games in the last 5 years, or you've been in the middle of nowhere, like modding adds that next layer of end game that's you just can't establish no matter how awesome you make your game. Like if the game offers modding, then this is that next level of really in-depth experience. And we've actually seen that by the biggest game of the world right now, I guess would be like, I don't know, Minecraft or, Skyrim or those type of games. The reason why those games are still, one of the most popular around right now is because they have this, community driven gameplay. And it's fascinating that we're going to be actually able to achieve this in a hack and slash game, guys.
We will really love to implement some communities work in the final game for the end game. So that's something I cannot make any promise, of course, today, because that's something that requires a lot of work. But that's something we are really looking at. It will be really nice if we can do that.
Just my opinion, I think it's definitely worth extra attention to be able to achieve that. The idea of being able to download say a new rift system in Diablo 3 would be extraordinary. But let's keep moving on. So